Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. This time we're taking a deep dive into teaching journals and how they can help you, as a teacher, become more reflective and really improve your effectiveness as an educator.
That's right. And, we all know...
We all know teaching is just a whirlwind.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's really nonstop.
Fast-paced.
Exactly. So carving out time for reflection can make a huge difference, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. In our world today where everything's so fast-paced,
Yeah.
it is really easy to get caught up in just the everyday demands of teaching.
Right. Just doing what you got to do.
Right. But I think stepping back and really analyzing your experiences, what we call reflective practice, is absolutely crucial for growth.
Yeah. So instead of just, going through the motions, we're talking about really hitting that pause button and thinking about what's working, what's not, and why.
Yes.
That's where the teaching journal comes in.
That's right.
And it's not just a diary. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Yeah, to help you become more intentional in your teaching. Exactly. And more aware of your actions and decisions in the classroom.
That makes sense.
One source even suggests asking yourself some really good questions, I think. Like, did I explain that concept clearly enough? How do I even know? Or what questions did students ask today that might reveal, gaps in my teaching?
Yeah.
And it's these types of questions that can really lead to more deliberate choices in how you teach in your practice.
Yeah, so it's like a built-in feedback system where you're both the teacher and the observer.
Right.
I like that.
The source material that we looked at really highlights how a teaching journal helps you move beyond simply reacting to situations in the classroom and towards proactively shaping your teaching.
That is such a great point. And speaking of being proactive, the research also mentions how journaling can help you identify those recurring patterns in your teaching.
Yes.
Like that one activity that seems to always fall flat, or that particular question that always sparks a lively discussion.
Absolutely.
Like, what works and what doesn't. Yeah. One teacher in the source material that we read shared how they realized through their journal that starting their lessons with a personal anecdote always captivated their students' attention.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic example. And it really shows how a teaching journal can help you pinpoint what really resonates with your students. But let's be honest, teaching isn't all sunshine and rainbows.
It's not. No.
We all face challenges, whether it's getting a concept across or managing classroom behavior.
Yeah, for sure.
So could a journal also help with that?
It can. It can. Think of your journal as a problem-solving tool.
Okay.
By documenting the challenges that you encounter, you can start to break them down and explore potential solutions.
I like that.
Yeah, one teacher in the research that we looked at was really struggling with student engagement during a particular unit.
Uh-huh.
And they actually used their journal to brainstorm different activities and then track which ones led to the most active participation.
Interesting.
So it's about becoming a sort of teaching detective.
I love that analogy. It really highlights the power of using a journal for targeted problem solving.
Yeah.
And, the research also emphasizes the emotional aspect of teaching.
Yes, very much so.
Right. It's such a rewarding profession.
It is.
But it can definitely be a roller coaster of emotions.
Definitely. It can be emotionally demanding.
Yeah. And a journal can serve as a safe space to process those highs and lows.
It can.
So it's not just about analyzing our teaching strategies. It's about acknowledging and reflecting on our own emotional journey as educators.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you gain a better understanding of your emotional responses to different situations in the classroom.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this can really help you develop coping mechanisms for those really challenging days that we all have.
So it's almost like having a personal coach right there in your journal, helping you analyze both your teaching techniques and your emotional well-being.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, supporting your growth on multiple levels. And speaking of growth, I'm curious to explore how a teaching journal can contribute to our professional development as teachers.
Yeah, well, your journal can actually become a roadmap for your development as a teacher.
Oh, wow.
By identifying areas where you want to improve and then tracking your progress over time, you're basically creating a personalized professional development plan.
That's amazing. It's like having a customized guide tailored to your specific needs and goals as a teacher.
Exactly.
But how does all this reflection actually translate to more effective teaching in the classroom? How do we bridge that gap between, thinking about our teaching and actually implementing changes?
Right.
That's the million-dollar question.
That is the question.
Yeah.
That is the question. It's one thing to reflect, but how do we actually take those reflections and turn them into, concrete actions that benefit our students?
Exactly. How do we make it real?
Well, the research emphasizes that reflection, when done right, leads to adjusted strategies and ultimately improves student outcomes.
Okay, so it's about using our insights to make informed changes.
Right? It's not just a thinking exercise.
Right.
It's a catalyst for action.
I like that. So give me an example.
Okay, so one of the sources that we read shares the example of a teacher who, after reflecting on a lesson where students struggled with a complex concept, decided to incorporate more visuals and hands-on activities into their teaching.
Oh, interesting.
And by revisiting their journal entry and analyzing why the lesson wasn't as effective as they'd hoped, they were able to adjust their approach and better meet the needs of their students.
That's awesome. That's a perfect example of how reflection can lead to practical changes that directly impact student learning. But I'm wondering, with everything on a teacher's plate, how do we actually make time for journaling? And how do we make sure it's a valuable exercise and not just another task on our to-do list?
That's a great question. First, I think it's important to let go of the idea that journal entries need to be long and elaborate.
Okay, so we don't have to write a novel every day.
No, not at all. Even short, focused reflections can be incredibly valuable.
So quality over quantity?
Exactly. Even setting aside 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the day to jot down a few key observations or questions can make a difference.
That seems doable.
Yeah. And another helpful strategy is to start each entry with a clear objective in mind.
Oh, so before you even start writing, you ask yourself, what do I want to get out of this reflection today?
Exactly. Are you trying to process a particularly challenging interaction with a student? Are you reflecting on the effectiveness of a new teaching strategy? Having that focus will help you stay on track and get the most out of your journaling time. And don't be afraid to use prompts to guide your thinking.
Yeah, I've seen those in some of the source material, like things like what surprised me today, or what did I learn from my students today?
Exactly. Prompts like those can help you delve deeper into your experiences and uncover valuable insights that you might otherwise miss. Another strategy that I find incredibly powerful is to revisit old entries.
Oh, so go back and read what you wrote weeks, months, or even years ago.
Yes, it can be a fascinating exercise. You'll likely be surprised by how much your thinking has evolved over time.
Yeah, it's almost like having a conversation with your past self, reflecting on how much you've learned and grown as an educator.
Precisely. And this process of looking back can also help you identify patterns in your teaching, both positive and negative, which can inform your future practice. You might even cringe at some of your earlier entries, but that's okay. It's all part of the learning process.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we're all on a continuous journey of growth and improvement. So we've talked about the benefits of teaching journals and some practical strategies for making the most of them. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how journaling can help us not only become better teachers, but also better versions of ourselves.
That's a wonderful question. The source material highlights the connection between reflective practice and the development of a growth mindset. When we take the time to honestly assess our strengths and weaknesses, we create space for learning and growth.
So instead of getting bogged down by mistakes or setbacks, we view them as opportunities to learn and improve.
Exactly. Journaling can help us shift from a mindset of I messed up to what can I learn from this experience? This shift in perspective can be transformative, not just in our teaching, but in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah, it's about embracing the idea that we're all works in progress, constantly evolving and learning. And that's a powerful message both for ourselves and for the students we teach.
It is. And by modeling this growth mindset for our students, we empower them to embrace challenges and view mistakes as valuable learning opportunities.
So journaling isn't just about improving our teaching, it's about fostering a culture of continuous learning and growth in our classrooms. I love that. But let's be realistic. Teaching is a demanding profession, and even with the best intentions, it can be hard to stay motivated and maintain momentum with any new practice. Do you have any advice for our listeners on how to make journaling a sustainable habit, something that they can integrate into their busy lives without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's true, finding the time and energy for reflection can be a challenge.
For sure. Especially when we're already juggling so much as teachers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the key is to make journaling work for you.
Okay.
Not the other way around.
So find what fits your needs.
Yes. Find what fits your individual needs and preferences. Some teachers prefer to journal at the end of each day,
Okay.
while others find it more helpful to set aside a longer block of time once a week.
Oh, so just experiment.
Experiment and see what works best for you.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Exactly. The most important thing is to make it a regular practice. Even if you can only spare 5 minutes some days,
Okay.
those small moments of reflection can accumulate over time and make a real difference.
That makes me feel better because some days, 5 minutes is all I got.
Right.
So even if all we manage is a quick bullet point list of observations or a single word that captures the essence of the day, that's still a valuable step.
Absolutely. And remember, your teaching journal is for you and no one else.
Okay.
Don't feel pressured to make it perfect or share it with anyone. It's a personal space for reflection and growth.
Yeah, it's about the process, not the product. So as we wrap up this deep dive into teaching journals, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
Well, we've learned that teaching journals are powerful tools for reflection, problem solving, and professional growth. They can help us become more mindful of our actions and decisions in the classroom, leading to more intentional teaching.
And they can also help us identify those recurring patterns in our teaching, the things that consistently work well and those that might need some tweaking.
Right. And by documenting our challenges and brainstorming solutions, we can use our journals to become more effective problem solvers. We also talked about the emotional benefits of journaling, how it can provide a safe space to process the highs and lows of this demanding profession.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
It is.
And ultimately, a teaching journal can become a roadmap for our professional development, helping us identify areas where we want to grow and track our progress over time.
It's a personalized guide to becoming the best educators we can be.
I like that. And as we've discussed, it's not just about documenting our teaching, it's about elevating it. It's about creating a space for continuous learning and growth, both for ourselves and for our students.
Absolutely. And remember, even small, consistent steps can lead to significant change over time.
That's encouraging.
Start where you are, experiment with different strategies, and find what works best for you.
That's a great message to end on. So to our listeners, we encourage you to explore the world of teaching journals and discover the incredible insights and growth that await you.
It's a journey well worth taking.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Happy reflecting.